Hello and welcome to the latest episode of the FPL Affairs podcast, a podcast that strips back and lays bare our season-long love affair with FPL. In our latest team selection video, the FPL Affairs Weasel and myself look at our existing teams and discuss what we plan on doing going into the next round of fixtures. Before we get started, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, click the bell for notifications every time we release new content, and, well, enough of my small talk. Let's get cracking.
And there's Mo Salah. There goes Haaland. He's on his way again. He's hungry. He scored. Ice cold precision from Palmer. Kayo Saka. That is a diamond of a goal.
Okay, so from looking at your three images, I'm guessing, well, I put this as option A, meaning you are rolling your transfer. Is that correct? Read out your team.
That is correct.
So what's your team?
Obviously, I'll be with Sanchez in goal away to West Ham. My back three will be Porro away to Manchester City, Milankovic away to Crystal Palace, De Kuyper away to Everton. We play in midfield four of Palmer away to West Ham. Saka at home to Leeds, who'll be my captain. Verts away to Newcastle, and Bruno away to Fulham. And my front three would be Bowen at home to Chelsea, Woods away to Crystal Palace, and Watkins away to Brentford. And my bench will be Kirks at home to Sunderland, Potts at home to Chelsea, Dorgu away to Fulham, and Ronaldo away to Burnley.
No temptation to play Dorgu or Reinildo over any of the others?
There is a temptation, but as I've said in the group chat, Porro, every time I benched him last season, hauled. And Spurs have got a great record against Man City. So I just can't bring myself to make the same mistake I did last year. Milankovic, obviously Crystal Palace. I think it's going to be it'll either be a 0-0 draw or a 2-2 draw. I'm hoping that he'll get DEFCON points. And De Kuyper's a bit of an unknown at the moment. He's got great attacking potential. He's on free kicks. And again, I think that could be a stalemate or it could be a high scoring draw. But that's why option B is an option for me this week.
Right, I'll skip it on to option B, leaning towards the computer, so I can actually read. So option B, I'm just looking, same keeper, same back three, same midfield. It's the same 11, isn't it?
Yeah, it's basically just changing Potts to King from Fulham. Because obviously King played, he's played I think 76 minutes. Now he played all pre-season, and it's a safer option for Potts. But I think Potts will come back into the West Ham team this week. Now they missed him.
Bench boost as well.
So obviously I need a player that's going to be playing, and obviously Potts didn't play game week 1, and I only got 4.5 budget, and I think there was only 2 other players that played that came on the subs at the 4.5 million range. What's your thoughts?
What I can see is I'm hoping it's just because you haven't changed it, but it's got down that you're still captaining Bowen.
Yeah, I just hadn't changed it. It would be captain Saka.
So yeah, I think looking at your the whole squad, I personally would say don't bench boost. I think you've got a good starting 11. to strengthen all areas, but very much budget midfield, very much budget bench in terms of you've got 4.5 million midfielder, a 4.5 defender, and a 4 mil defender to go with a 4.0 goalkeeper as well. Also noting that well, it's split on the bench. Two are at home and two are away. But yeah, from that squad, that's still definitely the right starting 11. That's the 11 I would go with as well, which would therefore for me be you may as well just leave in pots and go and not bench boost. Save
Uh,
the transfer.
yeah, at the moment I'm swaying to not bench boosting, but my original plan was to bench boost in week 2, but I have got a backup plan to bench boost in week 15 when
Yeah,
there's a lot of good fixtures.
I've definitely got a chip in mind for game week 15. I just haven't decided which one. We'll go on to mine in a moment. We'll just have a look at your third option, option C, which is, if I
To
guessed
roll
right
this
or
week.
figured it out right, it was to roll this week. Then you'd use two transfers going into game week 3 and bench boost that week instead.
Yep. So I take out Potts and Bowen and replace them with Reinders and Strand Larson and bank 500,000 doing it as well.
Nice, I like that. Yeah,
Uh,
I like that a lot. Those 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 two. Plus, looking at this one for bench boost 3, I noticed your starting 11 in option B, you had and A actually, you had nine of them were playing away from home, and on your bench you had two at home and two away. With this option, you've got you've got 10 of your starters playing at home. The one playing away is Saka, and then on your bench you've got two at home and two away. Um, Yeah, for me, I'd be split between A and C for that. But then on your bench, Ronaldo's got Brentford at home, the Kuiper Man City at home, Reinders Brighton away, Dubravka Man United away. Dubravka could potentially get save points for that. Reinders
that
will
was my
do.
thinking.
Reinders, who knows? Ronaldo after their home game against West Ham and the way Brentford defended.
Yeah, they've got a good chance of a clean sheet.
I'd say this one. My main question marks about this bench boost here is just that you've got Saka against Wirtz, but then if there's I'm not sure traditionally whether Liverpool Arsenal is high scoring or normally very stalemate and low scoring.
I can't remember either, to be honest.
Mm. Well, how Liverpool's defence was last week, I can imagine Arsenal scoring in that. And you haven't got defenders in that, so you'd be hoping for a high scoring game, and those two are bound to be involved in something, you'd think.
Yeah, I'd predict something like 2-0, I think, for that game.
So I think out of your three options, mine would be roll into game week 2, come out of game week 2 with two free transfers, and then you got 2 weeks of data to determine whether this option in front, C, um, of bench boosting in 3 is a viable and valid option. Um, yeah.
Uh, yeah, it's definitely too hard to judge on 1 week's data,
Mm.
and I'm sure no better Pele's minutes a bit next week. But as I
Yeah,
said, obviously I might go back to the bench boost week 15.
yeah,
Um, but I've just got a bad feeling against the Burnley Sunderland game. There's going to be
yeah,
0-0, and I'll be going down a bench boost in week 2.
mm,
But it's asking a lot.
yeah. So,
But me and bench
uh,
boost haven't got the best records, have we?
mine don't know. Right. Anyone watching, if you've got any preferences between or suggestions which option FPL Affairs Weasel should go with, should he go with option A of rolling and seeing what happens? Option B, which was taking a single transfer and bench boosting game week 2. And the alternative, option C, was rolling with the plan of definitely bench boosting in game week 3. If you've got any other ideas, then yeah, I am sure he is open and you are open to suggestions, right? Am I correct?
Yeah, I'll be checking the comments. So please comment on here or our Facebook group.
Right. I think it's best bet. Move on to mine. Right. So, as I've got at the moment, I got 55 points last week, but generally I'm still mostly satisfied with the squad I picked. The lineup I've chosen out of my squad: Sanchez in goal, away to West Ham, back three of Murillo of Nottingham Forest, Richards of Crystal Palace, and Esteve of Burnley. So that's playing Palace away, Forest at home, and Sunderland at home, respectively. I've gone with a 3-5-2, my midfield: Cole Palmer, Mo Salah, Reinders, Bruno Fernandes, and Elliot Anderson of Nottingham Forest. And up front, I've got Strand Larson of Wolves playing away to Bournemouth and Ollie Watkins away to Brentford. On the bench, Dubravka, West Ham's Fulkrug home to Chelsea, and my bench defenders are Pedro Porro away to City and Joachim Anderson of Fulham, who is at home to Manchester United. So my main decisions really, and thankfully, coming out of last week, I was just thankful that all 15 of my players started and none came off before 60 minutes. I got some returns. Um, Anderson I actually benched, so I was a bit annoyed with that, frustrated because that was a last 5 minute decision, but I mentioned that in our last video on our game week 1 unwrapped. So I'm not going to go into too much detail for that, but I felt after West Ham's performance and Forest's fixture, Anderson had to be starting for me, and Fulkrug was the obvious one to bench. I think the main tricky thing I had with defensive contributions this season is there are arguments for any combination of any three of those five defenders. Um, Murillo, I suspect, is going to be promising for DEFCON this week. Nottingham Forest throughout pre-season struggled to score, so how Palace defended against Chelsea, Palace have got a good chance for a clean sheet there. Esteve, potential clean sheet at home to Sunderland. Pedro Porro, from what we learned in the Super Cup, how they play against stronger sides under Thomas Frank, it looks like they may be having a back five, in which case he'd be more of a wing back, showing more attacking threat. And I think when against PSG, he would have got DEFCON bonus points for that. And Anderson's at home to Manchester United, and that's usually Fulham Man United is usually a low scoring game, and Anderson's quite a beast for DEFCON as well. So yeah, that's my main struggle, really. I think the only primary decision is I'm definitely rolling my transfer. Um, yeah, there's my waffling and where I'm at. What are your thoughts, Paul?
You actually captain Reinders.
I put him, I did put it on him provisionally with Vice on Watkins, but I don't think I'll have the bottle to stick with it. I think I will most probably switch it to Salah, and it also means I've got a representative in the Monday night fixture because that was a downside about this week was I was done, my team was done and dusted after Sundays, and I had no one in Monday's fixture, but at least it was Leeds against Everton, and really in that fixture, the majority of people, if you had any involvement in that, it was either Tarkowski or Dewsbury Hall. But even then, their ownership wasn't ridiculously high. But
Got
then,
Pickford as well.
yeah, but then Newcastle, Liverpool on Monday, you're going to have some people may well still be tripled up on Liverpool if they started with three at home to Bournemouth. Some may still have double Liverpool attack midfield, and Salah's going to be the most popular captaincy option because of his popularity in the game. And if I've only got Salah as playing in that game, he would be the safe bet for captaincy.
Yeah, I've only got
Um,
Wirtz in that game, but I was never considering captaining him this week.
mm,
Did you ever consider
so,
bench boost this week?
well, that was one thing I wanted to do when I submitted my final draft at the game week 1 deadline. I wanted to have a squad that would keep the option of bench boost 2 open. So I looked at the fixtures and defensive rotations because I wanted to come off as 6 million defender and to have possibly multiple 5.5, which is what I've gone with in terms of Murillo and Pedro Porro. Um, but I wanted to keep it open and see how Burnley did against Spurs and also how Sunderland did against West Ham. Now, as said, Sunderland was a little bit flattering with because I think they were more clinical with their chances, and West Ham didn't necessarily give them loads. But Sunderland overachieved their expected goals. Um, and yeah, it's then thinking about the Burnley defence. If I bench boost, I'd be going double. I'd have two Burnley defenders in defensive assets in Dubravka and Estev.
Lots of
Sanchez, I'm
starting those
happy.
two this week.
Pardon?
Lots of starting those two this week,
Mm. But then
which is a
I'm
big gamble.
how Sanchez got 8 points last week at home to Crystal Palace. West Ham were not great at all against Sunderland. So I'm quite comfortable with Sanchez playing away to West Ham, to be honest.
Yeah,
And
same here. I'm doing exactly the same.
um, which means the risk again is the playing Estev over Porro, Anderson. I mean, out of those 5 defenders, which 3 would you play? Because my front 7, I've decided with that, that's not changing.
Yeah,
The
I
only
agree with your front
possible
seven.
the only possible change is which 3 defenders to play.
Uh, yeah, it's a bit of a nightmare selection this week for you. All five of them have got good calls to why they could play or not play. Obviously, Richards didn't play tonight for Crystal Palace as we're recording this on Thursday. So I don't know if he's got an injury or anything. So it might be safe to keep an eye on.
Then
He didn't come off the bench either.
was he on the bench?
Yeah, he was on the bench and he didn't come on either.
It may well have just been a rotation option. And wasn't there a part, I think, of the Chelsea Palace game where he got a knock and he was seen by the physio. He went off, but I think he did come back on. So it might just be a protection of that as well.
Uh, Manchester United looked really good against Arsenal, so I think they're going to score against Fulham. So yeah, I had bench Anderson, as I said last week. but Anderson's sort of asset I was looking at this season.
Mm.
I think you need to start Estevie because of I think a lot of the teams around you will be as well, and you can't afford not to play him. So
Was
yeah,
Leeds
it's
Pedro
just
Porro?
obviously I said last season I benched Porro loads, and every time I benched him, he hauled. But lots of teams are benching him this week.
Yeah, because I think he's going to be one of those, certainly the most out of the Spurs defenders, because he'll likely be playing right wing back and the set pieces is and the defensive side about getting the def cons and an attack in return. The least likely to get a clean sheet out of all five. But arguably the one that's got the biggest chance of an attack in return.
He'll go one way or the other. He'll either get 1 or 2 points, or he'll
Mm.
get 12. But yeah, the safe bet is Palace and Forest. You either get the 6 points or you get the DEFCON points and get the 4 points.
But then part
So
of
I
me,
think that's
mm,
so.
but then actually either way with my, and I thought, well, I could go take out Richards since I've got Anderson in midfield and therefore double Forest. Take out Richards and play Porro, and then with the sort of hope of going all in on Forest in that um, they get Anderson gets an attack in return and Defcon and they win that. But then if I play Porro, I've got Porro versus Reinders anyway. But then this season the head to head is not so much important because of the avenue of Defcon. Um, yeah, that's where I'm struggling with. So let us know in the comments which three defenders you think I should start with, and if you're feeling generous, to give a reason why, because I think there's arguments and cases for all five really. Um,
Obviously, Palace are going to be less threatening without Eze. They only scored 1 goal tonight against a team I've never heard of before, and they
mm,
virtually played 9 of their starting 11. I think it is from Saturday. So they didn't rotate massively.
yeah, so that's where I'm at with mine.
How do you feel about DEFCON points as an addition to FPL?
Sorry, say that again.
How do you feel about DEFCON points as the new addition to FPL? We haven't really discussed it.
I I like it, and the main reasons I like it are one, well, they're sort of interlinked really. One, it gives the centre backs and the defensive midfielders, which basically, unless they were attacking from a set piece perspective, people didn't pick them. They weren't FPL assets. And therefore, because of that, in defence, you're picking the attacking fullbacks, which means you then, as the season goes on, you identify which ones are the best attacking fullbacks. And the few centre backs selected are the ones that are good at set pieces. So therefore there was a smaller pool of players, and by adding in DEFCON, you've got more central defenders, and it's usually them that are higher on DEFCON points because they're in the central part of the field. And the defensive midfielders picking them up with the tackles and the ball recoveries, and ball recoveries are usually the higher total. It just widens the pool of players, which brings in the second reason I like it is it means teams are more diverse, which
Yeah,
makes it more
definitely.
interesting in decisions and decision making. Because teams will look completely different. Because otherwise, once it gets to a certain point of the season and we've got more data, the majority of every team is the same, unless you're a very differential person or you're making a deliberate decision on trying to chase or gain rank. So there's still a lot to learn about it. I understand what they earn the points for. I'd just actually be interested in to see more sort of video clips to show this is what it looks like in a match, in a game. And I think there are clips available on the official website, because there can be things where they get multiple at once. I think I did see one clip of Caicedo some point last season where he got like three in about 5 seconds or 10 seconds. He got three DEFCON related things. Like he got um, either a block or a tackle. He recovered the ball. So he got, yeah, like three. And then he built it on. So interception,
Yeah,
I
it's
think
how
it
they
was.
plugged it
Yeah.
in. Yeah, I think it's a great addition. I think it could be worth like 150 points extra to everyone this season. If you can get two of your players every week, get DEFCON points.
Yeah. More avenue to points. So greater points totals and more opportunities to get to chase or gain rank.
Uh, but hopefully it will open up more players. But at the moment, it seems to be the same small pool of players that are getting picked.
Yeah.
But yeah, as more and more data comes through, hopefully get a bit more diversity.
Mm.
So, how can we
Okay,
get in
final
touch? Where can you
thoughts,
find us?
Mr.
Our
FPL
email
Affairs
address
Weasel, going
is
into
lowercase
game week 2.
fplaffairs@gmail.com. On X, our
You
user
put me on the spot
handle
a bit
is
there. Can you
at
just give me a
FPL
second.
Affairs. Facebook, the group
It
link
can be match
is in
specific. Well,
our
you said in the
description
group,
on the YouTube video channel.
you said in the
And
admin
alternatively,
chat, you
you
made
could
a
search the
comment
Facebook
on
group for FPL Affairs.
the
We should pop straight up.
Liverpool
Our YouTube
Newcastle
channel is
fixture and
forward
how this
slash
video was going to
at
be
FPL
full of
Affairs, and
content
Spotify links
in
are
relation
generally
to
found
that.
at the bottom
I
of
was
the
just
video,
winding them up.
or on Spotify you could search
What
up
the
FPL Affairs.
Liverpool fans and the admin
There
team.
may still be
Yeah.
time to join our
How do you
leagues
think though?
if you haven't already. The
Sort of send
code,
me a bit with
capacity
those
code,
fixtures. How do
is
you think that fixture will go
12RRCG,
on Monday?
or the classic code is lowercase
Um,
I
it's a really hard one to call. Obviously, you surprised me
NQNB.
on
Unfortunately, the
Newcastle
head-to-head
surprised
league
me and
is
getting
now
clean
closed
sheet
as the
on
season has started.
Saturday. No, I wasn't expecting that, and obviously, it was pretty obvious you weren't going to score. And that obviously Liverpool look good going forwards, but they're totally open for the counter attack, which you might be able to exploit. So
Yeah,
it
I
could either be a
think
great high scoring game like the Bournemouth Liverpool game, or it could be like your game, a 0-0 stalemate.
yeah, I think from the what we got, the takeaways from game week 1 are Newcastle's defence was solid, Liverpool's was not. Liverpool's attack was fluid, Newcastle's attack, well, we showed promise with running in behind the defenders. We didn't have the end product, and I'm not going to start going into that now. Only that how Gordon playing centre forward, and he'll be up front again, he'll, differs from your traditional number 9 is I think he drops a lot deeper and his movement's a lot deeper. But I think because he does that, that enables the likes of Barnes, Alanga, Jacob Murphy to overlap and get in behind. And from having a conversation with FBL Affairs Rooster, aka Dave Paxton, and Firefly, Michael Shannon, is that if Liverpool defend in the same way as they did against Bournemouth with the high line, then that puts them at high risk of Alanga, Gordon, Barnes catching them behind. One of them said they could quite easily see if they Liverpool defend the same that what Gordon's movement that got Konza sent off at the weekend, he could see Kanate doing exactly the same thing. So I think that's how we can potentially exploit Wester's defence if they play the high line again. It will be playing it over the top, and Cher's long balls that switching play from defence is a big threat in linking that.
Will Newcastle play 5 at the back, do you think?
I think we'll do the same as we did at Villa. It'll be a sort of 4-3-3/4-5-1. So when we're in possession, Gordon will drop deep and the wide two will be looking at overlapping. Quite direct if we turn over the ball in our defensive third. And when we're out of possession, Alanga and Barnes, or Murphy and Barnes, will drop deep. So it's more of a 4-5-1. And we'll try to entice Liverpool onto us rather than necessarily pressing from the central and defensive areas quite so much as when it's the Liverpool defensive third. But yeah, we shall see. But I think because of what we saw at the weekend, this could go anyway. It could be low scoring, really tight, close quarters, or it could be high scoring. But I do think it will be a very intense game, and I can't wait to see what the atmosphere will be like.
It's going to be very tasty.
Yeah, I am though putting the Isak palaver to one side. Before that really got going at the start of the summer, there was very much the fact of getting on board and with the dedication to Jota, because when a former Newcastle player, Christian Atsu, died in a natural disaster in Greece a few years ago, the first fixture we had after that, I think, was at Anfield, and they showed great respect towards him and recognition and designation. It was brilliant. So I'm hoping that there will be as initially suggested, a sort of combined "You'll Never Walk Alone" with Jota dedication, whether that be in the 20th minute or whether it will be a war flags display and thing before kickoff. We'll see, but I really hope that does happen as planned, and the Isak stuff happens once the game's underway. But the question mark is whether the fans' fury or disappointment, whether that's still targeted at Liverpool, or whether it's shifted from Liverpool to Isak's recent behaviour. But that we shall see.
Yeah, hopefully it doesn't spoil the game.
But final FPL comments rather than that particular fixture.
Yeah, don't panic after game week 1. It was a really tough game week. Personally, only one of my 7 attackers returned, which I wasn't expecting. And that there's only one game of the season. It's far too early to judge players on one game. And that's it. If you can, try and roll your transfer this week.
Yeah, and that's exactly mine. Is just don't take a hit and roll your transfer if feasible. Which I think therefore means all that's left to say is keep your FPL affairs under wraps until tomorrow's 6:30 p.m. deadline. We're recording this Thursday, so tomorrow being Friday, which means by the time you watch this, it will be tonight's 6:30 deadline. So thank you very much for joining me, FPL Affairs Weasel, and we shall be back soon. Good luck, everybody, for Green Arrows, and please like and subscribe. Bye-bye.
Come on, Team Army.
Definitely.
Here's to a great game week after last week.
Yeah.